Hello everyone, my name is Tamer Memkage and this is my final presentation for the Field Experience for Technology Infusion course, EDTC 710, where I'll be going over my final project. So I think it's important to note that I am not an educator, so my final project is a little bit out of the box as compared to some of the other final projects that are being produced, in that it is not a unit or a lesson that I'm teaching in a class, since I don't do that, but it is a project that I felt could apply to my role as the network administrator for Hawthorne Public Schools, and something that I can actually use as a framework and in a real life situation post this class to continue to expand and grow on it, as well as to address some of the challenges that exist in my district as it comes to technology infusion. So some of the challenges that exist in my district are that we tend to see that some of our staff members struggle to infuse technology tools into their lessons. They have a hard time doing this, whether it's because they can't find the tools or they're not sure what tools they can use. So there are a couple scenarios that we feel cause this problem. The first scenario is that the teacher disregards the formal process of having a tool reviewed and approved, and they kind of just use a tool for their course without curriculum and technology being aware of it, and that's not good because it creates a set of challenges as it relates to educational value, cost issues, and obviously data integrity and safety. And then the second scenario is that the formal process for having a tool approved can take some time that teachers invest, and they may not get the tool approved as quickly as they would like, ultimately creating some frustration. So what I decided to do was create a technology toolbox for teachers as an online resource for them to be able to use and reference to find technology tools to implement in their classes. This is going to solve a multitude of problems, and it's going to actually create a scenario where it's very easy for teachers to identify tools. It's going to have a central database of pre-approved technology tools, so teachers don't have to worry about if the tool's been approved or not. It's going to give them ideas on how they can integrate those tools into their lessons. It's going to help them to identify the grade and subject levels that are appropriate for those tools. It's going to offer some case studies that explains to them how the tools are actively being used in our district, as well as some tutorials on how to get started with the tool. So let's take a quick look at my project. So this is the Technology Toolbox resource site that I've created. And the goal of the site was, again, to make this a centralized database for all of the teachers in my district to be able to find the technology tools that they can ultimately use to integrate and implement into their lessons. The site was purposely designed to kind of be engaging towards teachers, and the color theme kind of follows this blue color theme, which was just unique to my district, so I thought it was appropriate to go with that. On the home page, there are some purposes and goals identified so that everyone understands exactly what the goal of the site is. And to make it easier for my teachers to identify the different tools that can be implemented, we create this icon key, which basically are these icons that are linked to the different tools to identify the subject area that the tools apply to. In addition to that, I created a how to use video. So this will be a video that explains how to use the tool. So for those that benefit from watching a visual presentation, there's a visual presentation available to those teachers so that they can watch this and really get an idea of how to use the tool. And then, of course, I broke down the tools into the categories that apply to my district, whether it's the elementary school tools, the middle school tools, or the high school tools. And those respective pages have the grade levels that are taught within those schools listed there. And the tools that apply to the grade levels within those schools. So, for example, here we have a tool, BrainPop Junior, which is listed under the pre-K, kindergarten category, and you can see that the icons here that are listed next to it make it really easy to identify that this is a fundamental skills-based tool. It's a tool that can also be used for some ELA and some math as well. All of the tool pages were kind of built with the same formatting and to create consistency for our teachers. And again, once you actually click on the actual tool and you're brought to the tool page, you see those icons are listed on the top here, as well as the name of the tool, a link to access the tool. We included some graphics to kind of make it fun and visually appealing, as well as a short overview of the tool. If there was a video available that explains the tool or introduces the tool in a way, we included that video as well, so that it's just another easy way for those teachers who like to watch videos as opposed to reading text and knowing how to implement the tool. Each tool has a pedagogy and SAMR explanation. So under here, we explain the different learning styles that the tool can cover, the different and how those learning styles apply to some brain research. So we know that certain tools are better for independent learners, and some tools are better for group settings and those students that benefit from group setting learners. So this area would explain that to the teachers, as well as how the tool falls within the SAMR model, whether it is a tool that is very basic and doesn't do any major functional changing, or whether it redefines the lesson at the highest level and offers significant functional improvement to the lesson. And then underneath that, there's the suggested use case studies. So this is an area so that teachers can really visualize and understand how the tool can be applied in their classrooms, as well as a real scenario that is happening in our district for them to understand how we're actually using that tool. And then lastly, tutorials that link to different guides on how to use that tool to make it really easy for our teachers to understand and implement the tools. In addition to that, we created a form here for our teachers to be able to go and very quickly and easily fill out this form to have a tool submitted. So we kind of take the guesswork out of how to get a tool submitted for approval in my district. It's now clearly defined here by filling out this form, and then this form will obviously go over to the appropriate people that need to approve these tools to ultimately then be added to this website. And lastly, we have a full table of contents, which again identifies all the tools that are available on the site. For this project, we identified 12 tools, but as we continue to expand this, and we're going to continue to expand this to include all the tools within my district, this list will certainly grow, and the same explanation of the tool, as well as the icons, as well as the grade level that's covered by the tool, are listed on the site. So we try to make this as simple as possible for our teachers, simple navigation, but as informative as possible without over bombarding the teachers with information and breaking it up into a way that's easy for them to identify the tools that they can potentially use and implement into their classroom. And that is my Technology Toolbox resource page.